A low, steady hum of speculation has taken over the corridors of Camp Nou ever since Marc-Andre Ter Stegen quietly slipped into the operating theatre, opting for surgery that he himself has pegged at just 3 months of recovery. Yet, behind the hushed conversations and flickering room lights, Barcelona's hierarchy is adamant. Their captain will be sidelined for at least 4 months. This isn't mere wishful thinking, but the product of 2 rock-solid arguments woven together by the club's medical and sporting directors. A tapestry of facts that clashes dramatically with Ter Stegen's own timeline. Could the whispers be wrong? Or is something more deliberate playing out behind the scenes, waiting to be revealed with each passing day? Imagine a chessboard where every salary figure, every player registration and every wage cap carve out the next move. For Barcelona, Ter Stegen's injured status isn't just unfortunate, it's a lever. Under La Liga regulations, a player must be unavailable for at least 4 months before his salary can be reallocated toward registering new signings. 4 months becomes the magic number, a barrier next to which the club's entire roster strategy stands or falls. In practical terms, if Ter Stegen clocks in at day 119 of recovery, Barcelona gains precious financial room. Any fewer days and that space remains tantalizingly out of reach. Will this rule reshape their transfer plans? The answer lies buried in the months ahead, if they can convincingly argue his absence. Despite the goalkeeper's own estimation of roughly a quarter-year's hiatus, Barcelona's internal consensus refuses to budge. In a confidential briefing that rippled through the medical wing and onto the sporting boardroom, officials pored over scans, notes and timelines until 2 indisputable points emerged. Their conviction feels almost palpable, an unspoken pulse throbbing below the roar of the crowd. While 3 months sounds like a manageable wait, club insiders insist that optimism won't override reality, and so they prepare, deadline-driven, for a duration well beyond Ter Stegen's hopeful return. What have they seen that the world has not? That question lurks in every guarded glance across the dining tables of Barcelona's offices. Tomorrow, in a softly lit operating suite in Bordeaux, Dr. Amélie Leglise will guide her scalpel through scar tissue and nerve pathways to undo a painful relapse. This is no routine procedure, but a course correction. Ter Stegen, 33, first faced down a herniated disc in late 2023, emerging from surgery with cautious optimism. Yet as summer pressed on, a familiar ache crept back between his shoulder blades and lower back. Each training dive sending fiery tendrils of pain down his limbs. The sensation, as one source describes it, is like walking across hot coals, the burning insistence of an injury that hasn't fully healed. Since July 14th, while his teammates pushed through pre-season drills under the Mediterranean sun, he has watched from the sidelines, every twinge reminding him of the fragility beneath the gloves. And so the choice to operate again carries the weight of relapse, demanding a recovery clock that ticks slower than any stopwatch can measure. Close your eyes and picture Ter Stegen stretching skyward, fingertips grating the ball, spinning surface before crashing to earth in a controlled tumble. That split-second reflex, that seamless dive, masks a hidden struggle, the relentless pounding on the lumbar vertebrae, as inevitable as the tide. Barcelona's medical team points out that goalkeepers are a class apart, requiring bursts of explosive power, sudden directional shifts, and the elasticity to spring back from every dive. Recovering from VISC surgery under those conditions is not akin to a sprinter rehabbing an ankle. It's more like rebuilding a bridge while traffic still barrels overhead. Each tumble, each push-off adds microscopic delays to healing tissue, turning what might be a 3-month rehab into a 4 or 5-month odyssey. Will his back ever feel the same? That question hangs heavy, unanswered, like a final breath before the plunge. Even as medical charts and X-ray plates stack up, another fracture has formed, this time between player and club. Barcelona's leadership bristles at the way Ter Stegen made his timeline public, viewing it as a unilateral decision that blindsided the team. In meeting rooms where sunlight filters through tinted glass, officials now speak of a breaking point, a moment when trust cracked under the pressure of headlines and social media fervour. They expected a coordinated message, a meeting of minds before the public learned that one of their icons would vanish from the pitch for months. Instead, the announcement slipped out like a whispered secret, carried on the wind to amplify doubts and stoke speculation. How will they bridge this divide? The answer may lie in tense boardroom discussions yet to unfold. Behind curt statements and pointed press releases, Barcelona's brass paint a picture of immaturity. A senior player, frustrated and cornered, lashing out in public, rather than seeking private counsel. The arrival of Joan Garcia, an ambitious new signing, has only fanned the flames of Ter Stegen's discontent. As whispers of a potential exit swell through locker room corridors, the German's loyalty feels strained, his patience wearing thin. To the club, announcing a 3-month return date without full disclosure smacks of petulance, like a child stamping a foot in the middle of a symphony. Yet on the other side, one can almost hear Ter Stegen's own questions. Why must I watch someone else claim my place? The tension crackles like static before a storm, charged with emotion, yet poised on the brink of resolution. And so we arrive at the cusp of clarity, when Barcelona's medical department, armed with fresh scans and post-operative assessments, will issue their definitive report. Will it mirror Ter Stegen's optimism, or will it affirm the club's cautious stance? The clock is ticking toward that moment of truth, when days of conjecture and internal debate will give way to a clear timetable. Until then, the suspense hangs in the air like the final chord of an unfinished melody, lingering on every breath of anticipation. What will the report reveal, and how will both sides respond? Stay tuned. The next chapter is almost here.